This is your weekly rundown of what was Lucha Underground back in the day. It was a Wednesday, actually. Ironic. We're looking at episode 5. I don't remember what it's called. I don't care what it's called. It's another week of this. Like I said, it takes a while for it to get good.
A Boiled Heights Street Fight is what it was called. Episode 5.
Oh, that's a terrible name for an episode. More like Boiled Alive and Boiled Heights. So before we get started, MLW is doing an Azteca Underground angle. They brought in the former Dario Cueto. I don't know what his name is. Or I mean, I do, but I forget it. They brought in Mil Muertes, and they're probably going to bring in some other names as well. I would imagine Marty the Moth would pop up. But I thought it was going to be an angle or a stable. But they're actually launching Azteca Underground as a television show. It's been picked up by a network. It hasn't been named what network it's going to be. It's going to be produced by MLW. And they have like a standing relationship with AAA, so expect some AAA talent. But unlike Lucha Underground, which was a combination of the television network El Rey and AAA, it's just going to be an MLW show. So there's not going to be any of this nonsense with El Rey and constant interference and people not getting paid and just all kinds of muckery going around. So I'm looking forward to the revival. Hopefully they'll bring back Marty Elias as well. Should be interesting. With that said, let's check out the opener. We get a Conan Cueto promo. At this point, there's only like 8 guys doing anything, so if you've seen one promo with them, you're going to see all of them, so you can skip the Conan Cueto promo. That takes us into the opening match, however. It's Mil Muertes versus Drago. And this match could have been cool, I guess. It was fine. Mil looked fantastic. I always loved Drago's look. Drago had maybe the coolest look in Lucha Underground prior to Pentagon Dark.
Yeah, man, I don't know how he kept pulling off that jelly tongue thing he did, man. Like, ugh.
Do you remember those sticky hands that we had as kids, like where you would like whip it and it would stick on stuff and you can like bring it back and stuff would come with it? That's what that tongue reminds me of.
Mm-hmm.
And like those sticky things, those sticky hands, whatever they are, always just like got dust and crap on it. So like you're picking it off and you're just like eventually, and then it loses its stickiness and you just throw it out.
Yeah, at school, it's in high school. You can imagine what the guys would do with them. So.
Oh yeah. Just for the less couth among us, the more diabolical dominion, they would whip the little smacky hands on the girls' behinds. Those rude boys. I'm not making any insinuation to anything. Moving on. So Muertes gets the win. But during the match, 2 things of note pop up. Was it this match? Yeah, I think it was this match. One, there was a very... what's the word I'm looking for? A very unfortunate illusion. I don't know if you caught this. But Matt Stryker made a mention about Vampiro forgetting things. Kind of tongue-in-cheek. But... now, like after the show ended, it was revealed that Vampiro was dealing with early signs of dementia. So I was like, Stryker didn't know. I don't think he knew. Like Stryker was always kind of Vampiro, so I don't think that was like some kind of veiled shot. It's kind of like calling Chris Benoit the Crippler, and then like you see what he did to his family. Like it's just kind of one of those like it feels weird. Like it's not offensive because it wasn't intended to be, and it wasn't anything that he did on purpose, but like, still, I was like, ugh, that's rough. The other thing that happened during the end of the match was as Drago was getting his ass beat, King Cuerno comes out crawling around like a weirdo, and they're like, oh, King Cuerno's stalking his next prey, and I'm like, you mean his first prey, right? Because he hasn't done shit. He's gonna lose for the next 14 weeks.
He's like, this is what I should have did the first time. Wait till he's almost dead.
Right? Like, that would have been a bad gimmick. And, like, the idea of him being, like, this prime hunter, and then you have the man of 1,000 deaths, how is not, like, what you're building up to at Lucha, what was it, Ultima Lucha? Like, damn.
No, actually, now that you think about it, that is the way to book him because he comes out there, he stalks the prey, he attacks them while they down. That builds to a match next week where he looks dominant because he watched them for their whole damn match, so he knows what's coming.
Kind of like a master situation.
Boom.
But not even just that. You can also add in the element of like, let's say it's Drago and Muertes. Muertes wins, but then Cuerno, attacks the knee of Drago. So now not only has he watched the match, filmed it, and will rewatch it, but he also now knows that his prey is weakened. It's limping.
Yep.
So then Drago comes in and he's got a bum knee, and then King Cuerno gets an easy win. So like you can easily build him up as this very calculative animal, and then like, who was the first Lucha Underground champion? Was it Puma?
Yeah, because you remember they had that real cheap looking title.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't the worst thing. I've seen worse, like WWE Velcro belts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it could have been worse. I would have had it with Muertes. He seemed like the unstoppable beast. You put it on Muertes first, I think, because he eventually did get it. Put it on Muertes first and build up Cuerno to at Ultima Lucha. Both men undefeated. Like that's how you build to fucking matches. But like,
Cuerno should have been so much bigger than he was.
And you could say that for every company he's ever been in. Like that's the saddest part. It really is. It's the saddest part. All right. So next up, we got some vignettes, I think. But we got the next match was Masquerita Sagrada versus Son of Havoc. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I don't think there was. Oh, there was a Johnny Mundo promo. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then Cueto approached Katrina, and Katrina's like, "Hey, you know everything. You know all about locking people away and things that you don't want let out." And I'm like, "Oh, she's referencing Jeff Cobb." Yay! So that was cool. Any thoughts on the Mundo promo or the Katrina and Cueto promo?
Well, that was kind of always one of my favorite parts of Lucha was those vignettes because I mean, it took somebody that might be mediocre and made them look like, oh, I can't wait to see what this guy does because how they shot it, it was definitely akin to the person. Obviously, with this, you got Mundo parkouring and doing his whatever Night Delight stuff and whatnot, and it made him come off like a badass. And we know he can go in the ring, but I think this kind of blended Lucha Underground more than companies he's been in, blended more of his want to act with his actual wrestling skills. So
you're not wrong there. I by the way, I just looked up the card for the original Ultima Lucha. It's not bad. Forgot about it. It's solid. It's really
once we got to that towards the end of this first season, things started to rev up, man. Specifically season 2, that's when we really get to, because we know what's coming. So.
Ultima Lucha's not until episode 38. We're on 5. Like once the trios tournament starts, I think I'll be better.
Yeah, once we start introducing the Azteca title.
Mm-hmm.
What am I thinking about?
The Seven Suns title, or what was it called? Gift of the Gods.
Gift of the God, there it is. Yeah, they're probably one of my favorite concepts. Once we start getting off into that, it's gonna start revving up.
Gift of the Gods was just the WMAC Masters title tournaments, just amplified.
Yeah, I think you told me that. Yeah.
Gotta love that show. Everyone had their own insignia, and if you beat them, you got to have like a copy of their insignia, and you got to put it into like the little belt. And once you filled up all the little squares or all the little hexagons on the belt, you got to cash the belt in for a shot at the Dragon Star. Like, cool, it's so cool. The wrestling needs to do that. That's so cool.
Your soul is mine.
Basically. So after that, was there anything else after that? So we get Masquerita Sagrada versus Son of Havoc. It was fine.
It was fine. So Sagrada got another win. We got to see, I guess, the beginning romance of Ivelisse and Son of Havoc.
They're already dating at this point because I do very clearly remember mentioning, I think it was episode 3, that Stryker said, "Hey, they're dating," and then Vampiro said, "I thought they were brother and sister." So they're already together, but they hate each other, and that'll be revealed in the coming weeks. Then we get Sexy Star versus Chavo, which was a match.
Yeah.
I will say this: I do absolutely adore Sexy Star's look. I'm always a fan of wrestlers that put in like accoutrements. Now, granted, this may be more necessary than aesthetic, but like that arm thing she has on her bicep and forearm, I think it's an elbow brace. Like that really amplified her look. I think it's the Power Ranger fan in me. Like whenever like the Power Rangers got like the shield or like any type of dumb upgrade, I was always like, yeah.
Six Ranger always had the best suit.
Always.
Yep.
I will say this: they topped on the Green Ranger in terms of weaponry because even though Saba was cool, the Green Dagger played music.
Yeah, then they gave him an upgrade with that Sword of Darkness, and like I think he used to do this like green energy orb thing or something like to that effect. Like he definitely had an array of powers that kind of got powered down, obviously once he went good. But yeah, that Dragon Daggers, that's God tier.
Are we gonna end up doing a Power Ranger podcast one day? I feel like it's I feel like it's just an inevitability.
No, yeah, no one else.
Eventuality.
We'll wait right until Hasbro is about to reboot the franchise
again. Jeez. So Starr and Chavo, I don't remember if this actually had a conclusion, but Pentagon ends up interfering at one point, and then Phoenix comes in, and while they're attacking Sexy Starr before Phoenix shows up, they had the worst subbed in boos I've ever heard in my life. Like it went from boo boo, and then as soon as they both of them started attacking her, it was like, I'm like, whoa, that's piped in. Digital effects much? Yes, please. So they're building up to a Pentagon and Chavo versus Phoenix and Sexy Starr match. That's kind of cool, I guess. I don't remember it at all.
Yeah.
Should tell you something. Then the main event of the evening. It's Prince Puma, a.k.a. Ricochet, versus Big Ryck, a.k.a. Ezekiel Jackson, with Johnny Mundo, a.k.a. Johnny Nitro, a.k.a. John Morrison. So this is a WWE Ghosts of Past, Present, and Future right here. The match itself isn't really all that interesting, I think. I've never been a big Ricochet guy. Like, he just doesn't do anything for me. I'm much more impressed with Big Ryck, but not in this trunk outfit. Like the jean sorts. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, if he was just wearing black trunks or something like that, that'd be fine. But the jean shorts kind of makes me think like he's just, he's hanging out at like a barbecue joint. He's kind of hanging out, pulling apart some pork ribs and maybe thinking, I worked out today. I could have another cornbread muffin. And then somebody comes on and goes, hey, Zeke, Big Ryck, whatever you're going by, you want to do the wrestle? And Rick's like, all right. Then he shows up and does the wrestle. And then he goes back to eating his food. And that's how I always feel when people are using like regular clothes for the ring gear. Like when Bret Hart came back in 2010, granted he couldn't do anything. And then he wore the jean shorts. I was just like, is he even trying? This feels so sloppy. Ugh. I'll never be okay with it. And yeah, the Eddie Edwards kind of like, what are those, puff pants or zipper pants? What are those? I hate those. Better than when he was doing the jean stuff, but still. It's like, man.
Yeah, I get it, man. It's an aesthetic, but he's just supposed to be this thug goon that just, he don't get paid by the, hourly aesthetic. He just get paid by the, by the beat down per week. I mean, he definitely came off with more swag and more personality than he did as Ezekiel Jackson. Last ECW champion on record, by the way.
Not sure if that's a good thing or not.
Yeah, exactly. I'm more of a fan of Puma than you are. Of course, to me, he kind of came off with that, those superhero vibes. And to me, obviously, he's Ricochet. If you're familiar with the guy, certainly with the tats, by then. But I always liked it because I thought creatively it forced him to do more with less because he couldn't talk.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously,
he still can't. We've seen his promos, Marcus.
Yeah, it's not good. But but yeah, he always came off, and then obviously the mask and everything, and then even though there was this discrepancy that Chad readily pointed out.
He's Prince Puma, but he has a jaguar mask. Did you put any thought into this, guys? Like, come on. Like, why we were ever such big fans of this show to begin with, I have no idea. Like, I don't. Marcus, like, I don't know how they got us. They did. They got us.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, but this was basically a 3-on-1 handicap, and then eventually the Wednesday night delight
don't trust me
will come out, and then that was the whole thing. But yeah, it was just a foregone conclusion. It was just numbers game. That's what it was.
Yeah, when Mundo showed up, John Morrison, he popped up on the top of Dario Cueto's office and leapt into the ring and missed everybody, but it was supposed to be that way because he was doing his I'm parkour guy. And I was like, wait, I thought Angelico was the first one to do that, which is ironic because Ricky Reyes, who's the one in this street gang that doesn't get killed by Dario's brother, he's the one with the who ends up being a cop. Spoiler alert. So dumb. He was the one who took the Angelico leap. So it's a little ironic that the first 2 times that someone leaps off the top of Cueto's office, fucking, I'm pretty sure Big Ryck was in that 6-man tag that Angelico was in too. So like, that's kind of interesting. I think that's interesting. But like Marcus said, it was a foregone conclusion. They eventually put Morrison down, and they put Puma in through a table and get the pin. They get the win, and they blame Mundo for the loss. And Mundo's checking on Puma to end the show, and that's how episode 5 ends. Thankfully, we were able to get through that in about, 10 minutes? As opposed to the show itself, which took about 40-odd minutes, depending on how many commercial breaks you had. So, that's the thing. Marcus, overall thoughts on this week's episode?
I dig it more than last week's. Little bit more flavor. Like I said, it's a build. It's a slow build, but it's a build. Because it was a lot of this Chavo shenanigans, and Big Ryck kind of dominated a lot in the early going.
They really fudged up with Big Ryck. Like, just seeing how big he was. And again, maybe this is one of those situations where I'm looking at it now through 2021 eyes. And the need to get away from the high-flying zippity-doo-dahs of wrestling to go back to something more physical and dominant. It's aware. Like, we want that. Like, we look at, guys like Brian Cage, and we don't want him to do flippy-doos. We look at Powerhouse Hobbs. We don't want him to do flippy-doos. And we look at Big Ryck, and, like, if you had just had him come in with, like, no fucking knee pads, regular trunks, boots, and you just had him beating people's ass in 30 seconds or less, building up to Will Muertes, I think fans would have gotten behind him, but instead they tried to do this. He's a gangster, he's Dario's heavy, and he's wearing jean shorts, and like I don't think it clicked because it felt very lazy. So, and honestly, I could do that big shouldn't have felt lazy. Was this before or after his stint in Impact? Remember that?
What's that last one?
Was Big Ryck's appearance in Lucha Underground before or after his stint in Impact?
This was...
Yeah, you forgot about that. Snitsky and him showed up together.
Holy hell, I don't even know if I recollect that.
It was building up to the summer of 14. Rhino, EC3, Spud, and I want to say Big Ryck and Snitsky were feuding with the Dudleys, Tommy Dreamer, and like maybe Al Snow. And this was the build up to putting Dixie through a table.
Oh yeah, because this was when they were doing a Hammerstein, right?
Yeah. No. Yes, but no. The Hammerstein is the big ballroom that they do with the ECW pay-per-views and the Ring of Honor pay-per-views. This was the same building, but it was a different venue. It was the Manhattan Center.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, because they was doing these kind of these per need bring-ins. What they were doing building up to this. Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, because I was like, wait a minute, is that? And is that? Yeah.
Yeah, they were heavies for EC3 and company. Crazy. Two of the bigger monsters of ECW. Oif. All right, so realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdCorp. We're on Twitter at NERDCorp. We're on Instagram at realnerdcorp. You can find Marcus on his other podcast, The True Penny Show. We're going in reverse order right now. I don't know why. TruePennyShow. I think I spelled True Penny Show right. Over on Twitter. You can also find Marcus on his personal Twitter account, Paradox Kid, PARADOX.
That is me.
You can also find me on Twitter at Chad Nerdcorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. We will be back next Monday for another recording of the news, Making an Impact, and Lucha Lookback. Monday nights, 10 p.m. Maybe we'll go at 9 p.m. if Marcus wants to, but right now we're still scheduled for 10. We'll figure out the official time in a few minutes here, but yeah, so tune in, check us out, give us a chance, watch more wrestling, something like that. Marcus, take us home.
Good night, me.